Alright, hello everyone, it's me back again with another video for Dancing with the Stars, Season 25, Week 9, semifinals. I recorded this video yesterday and I accidentally deleted it because I was trying to edit out a part of it. And yeah, I ended up keeping the part that I wanted to edit out and destroying the rest of the video. So I'm back today trying to record this, trying to get it up because last week I wasn't here and last week I had some issues with my internet connection and all that stuff, and I couldn't go really anywhere to get the video up, so I just kind of said forget it. So yeah, I guess just briefly to talk about last week, just briefly, I enjoyed the trio round with the celebrities, the past celebrities coming back. I thought that was fun. Thought it was a cute little idea. I thought they did a good job of executing it. The one thing that this set of producers has actually done a decent job at doing. The only issue I think was some of the choices, and that kind of lies in the pros. And also the assignment of a rumba for a trio just kind of wasn't a very good idea. But yeah, I enjoyed it. The celebrities were great. They meshed well with the past celebrities, meshed well with the current celebrities, and you know, I really enjoyed it. It was a really nice dynamic. It was really cool. You know, it was nice to see, like, if they already had a connection, just to kind of see them be friendly with each other and kind of just hang out. It was fun. It was a fun episode. And unfortunately, Terrell and Cheryl got voted out. I would have liked for them to stay in this week because I think they could have given us a little bit more than one other couple was able to do, but we'll get to that soon. So yeah, Mi Gente is on. I love this one. Alright, so anyway, to get started, we had Drew and Emma. They had a tango. They got a 24 for it. It wasn't all that great. It wasn't terrible. You know, the performance was there. You know, he was committed to it. But the technique wasn't all that great. It was just kind of very messy. Yeah. Usually it seems like the judges try not to go under a 24 for the semifinals. At least as of now, unless you really screw up, they try not to go under a 24 for a score. It seems like, but yeah. His second dance was a jazz. The second dances for all the couples were recreating an iconic dance. And just to kind of briefly say, I really don't think there's one dance for sure that was iconic. For sure, there was two maybes. Like, you could argue. No. There's one that could potentially be argued. Maybe. And even that would be a stretch. And then the other three were just like good, but not iconic. So, yeah, Drew and Emma's dance was Corbin and Karina and Whitney's jazz trio. This was the dance that I felt like could be argued. And I say that because it was very good when they did it. But I'm not sure if it was like the face of season 17. So Drew did a good job. It seemed as though he was handled Corbin Bleu, one of the best male celebs to ever be on the show. It seemed as though he was given him. I think he definitely had large shoes to try and fill. I'm glad that Emma kind of took it in a different way to try and not get the comparison to happen as much. I thought they did an alright job. I actually thought this was one of his best dances of the season. He just kind of seemed at ease, and things kind of, he wasn't super stiff, and like he was hitting all the moves, and he was like on beat and on time and stuff. So I think the issue here was, I don't know what the issue was, but I think the judges probably only gave him a 24 to try and keep him from keep him in fourth place, and try and keep him from finishing in the top 3, because yeah, I think he could have gotten 9s for this. I don't think that the lists were necessary, and I kind of have to, Emma's been great all season, but I think this was one of the times, this week in particular, was one of the times that I just felt like there was a few things that she decided to do that weren't really necessary. The lists are one of them, because even though he pulled it off, and he's a lot stronger than I thought he was, he's a pretty solid guy. I want to know if he did any sports in high school or something, because, I mean, yes, he's tall and lanky and stuff, but he's also kind of built. So I have to wonder if he like played football at some point, or something like that, because he's definitely got some muscle mass to him. And you could tell, because even though that lift at the end where she's like hanging and like she's going up and down and could potentially hit her head and get a concussion, besides that, or with that, the fact that he was able to do it means that he was able to like engage his core and keep everything together all at the same time. And not everybody can do that. That's something that athletes have more awareness about, because they're more in tune with their body and they know what to do. So I kind of am wondering like what he did. Off topic, yes I know, but you know, I do that a lot. Yeah, they got a 24. You know, decent score. Moving on. Next was Victoria and Val. They had a contemporary, was their first dance. They were supposed to have a waltz at first or something. I don't know what happened. The press release was wrong or what, but Val's partners tend to change their dance styles all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if hers got changed at the last minute too, if he got hers changed because of whatever. I don't know. But it always happens with his partners. At least once a season it happened with her. I do think that this wasn't a very good dance. It was basically another trio, and while I don't care that she did another trio in theory, I don't like that they did it, because the person that they brought in, who's Jenna, another pro, they brought her in to do more of the heavy dancing, the more of the heavy lifting with the dancing and stuff, and kept it very light on Victoria. And there's a way to dance without having to move. And I just don't know if they were able to, I don't know what the issue was, but it's just like, there's a way to dance without having to move, without having to stand up. You know, you could see that with, I mean, Derek did it a lot with Amy, where she was dancing, but she wasn't standing up because of her issues with her feet. I think Sharna did the same thing, where it was like with what's his face? What is the guy's name? Noah, where she kind of kept him as stationary as possible because his leg kept him from being more loose, and like kind of made him stiff because it wasn't bending the way that the rest of his body was, because it's mechanical. So, well, not mechanical, but like a prosthetic. There we go. So, there's a way, but she still kept him like dancing. So there's a way to dance without like standing up and like moving per se, using the lower half of your body. And I just don't think Val really did a good job of doing that with Victoria for this dance, or really a lot of the season. I don't think he's really done that great of a job with it. There's some dances that he did pretty decently, some dances that he didn't. but they got a 27 for that. That was really, really, really kind. And as soon as they got that score, I was like, oh yeah, so she's going. Up next, or not up next, their second dance was Charleston. It was like to Amber and Derek. Charleston from season 17. They got a 29 for this dance. Again, another very kind score. While it was her best dance, her best performance of the season, and I think it was her only dance that deserves straight 9s, and I could see 110 for it, coming from like Bruno. The 2 10s was pushing it, because yeah, it was pushing it. Although she did a good job, I will say, with the swivels and the technique, and she got a lot of the technique down that I thought was going to be more of a struggle for her. It still wasn't perfect. You know, there was moments where it's just like, ooh, okay, but they're very slight. You know, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't 10 worthy for me. 9 worthy for sure. But I will say I have to call out Carrie Ann for her comment about like completely forgetting about Amber, because it was so like, she didn't need to say that, and it wasn't necessary, and nobody was asking her for that. And she didn't really do it with any other couple, and there was one couple that actually really overshadowed the couple's dance that they were supposed to recreating. She didn't say that for them, but she said it with Victoria for Amber and Derek. And here comes social justice me, you know, because that is a passion of mine. It's something that I feel extremely strong about, making sure that we are treated, everyone is treated equal, but like racially, gender-wise, sexual orientation, all that stuff. So for me, I was just looking like, okay, well, you didn't say this about anybody else but the black woman. You said this about her. You said this about her. Why was she the only one that you did this for? You know, it just kind of raised my antenna a little bit, like, that. Now, you know, that wasn't necessary. You know, you didn't need to do all that. You really didn't. So I got really upset at her for doing that. Again, just more of Dancing with the Stars and their microaggressions towards people of color, specifically people of color and women of color, black women, on top of all of that. So, well, not the only black woman, but because of, no, never mind, only black woman, yeah. I got the trios mixed up, sorry. So, they got a 29 for that. Respectable routine, best dance. But yeah, I'm glad that she got eliminated, and that she got eliminated on a good note, because one, I just feel like her body was falling apart. You can see all the kinesio tape around her, just basically keeping her body together and giving her all the support that she could possibly get. She was having so many spasms and stuff that I'm not sure she would have been able to make it through this week. I feel like she may have potentially fallen apart, not been able to compete in the finals if she had made it through. So I think, yeah, she just I think it was a good time for her to leave. Actually, it was a couple weeks too late, because her body really started to, you know, there was a lot of issues, and I'm kind of sad about, I'm sad about that for her, because although I think she had fun, I'm not sure if she was prepared for the amount of stress that her body was going to be under. And I know for sure her body wasn't, because her body was reacting. So I'm not sure if she was mentally prepared for all of that, and to be experiencing these things again, you know. That was one of the things that I was worried about with her over at the beginning of the season. So up next was Jordan and Lindsay. They had a Argentine tango first, an Argentine tango. and I thought this was good. Technically, it was perfect. However, it was one of his weaker dances this season. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with what was been going on with him and Lindsay. Lindsay's knee being messed up, his eye being scratched, all the other stuff, and the fact that the dance was just sort of more the dance was more I guess it wasn't like the feel of an Argentine tango that you usually get, so that might have thrown things off a little bit. But also yeah, just there wasn't the connection to the dance that I usually feel from Jordan. A 28 was fine. I do think it's, if an off day for him is a 28, that's great. You know, that's amazing that your off day is a 28. But his next dance was amazing. So last week he did his salsa. His salsa was incredible. I loved it. It was one of my favorite dances that's ever been done on the show. I just loved how, like, I love the fact that they got assigned this song that Amber used for her salsa trio with Mark and Derek, and I love that dance. And then it comes from season 17 with my favorite top 2 ever, and then Corbin was there with Jordan, and Jordan is probably one of my favorite celebrities to ever be on the show. And you know, you have all these things going on with like favorites, and I'm like, okay, so this dance has the potential to be amazing. You know, one of my favorite pros, Lindsay, all these other things. And then it was incredible, and the choreography was incredible, and like Jordan and Corbin's energies matched perfectly, and it is almost like two brothers who were like on the same page dancing. It was amazing, right? So like I was like, oh well, you know, he's never gonna be able to match that. That was like the pinnacle, like that was it. So I kind of sat down and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna take this and just hope for the best. You know, I don't know why they decided to give him Paige and Mark's jive, because I feel like Nicole and Derek's jive to the same song is way more iconic than Paige and Mark's. And Nicole's jive was actually perfect. Paige's jive wasn't. So, you know, it felt a little weird. But they started dancing, and I was like, okay, so they're in red, okay, like Paige and Mark. And then they like took everything off and they were in gold. And I was like, wait, are they like doing a nod to Nicole and Derek too? And so I'm sitting there like, okay. And I'm watching, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is incredible. Like, oh my gosh. And it was the first time that I've ever watched a male celeb in the history of this show. I've watched a lot of female celebrities and been like, oh yeah, you know, they could be like, or they look like they could potentially be a female pro. They're that good, where if they work a little bit more, they could be a female pro. I've never really said that with any of the male celebs until his jive. I was looking at his technique, and I was just like, wow, he could be a male pro. And I was looking at his technique, and his kicks and flicks, they were just so tight and so fast and so precise and sharp. And I was just like, I just was like, oh my gosh, like, this is incredible. I'm like, and I was like freaking out. I was literally freaking out as he was dancing, because I could not believe what I was seeing. And then like I started like praise dancing, not like a lot, but a little bit after he got done. I couldn't do it that much because my mom was sleeping downstairs and I didn't want to wake her up. But yeah, I was just like, I'm still in shock at what I saw. It was that good. Yeah, I really stand out. I'm still standing out. To be honest, that is probably my favorite dance that's ever been done on this show, period. Yeah, period. My favorite dance that's ever been done on this show. So next was Lindsay and Mark. They had their first dance as a contemporary. They got a 29 for. Probably should have been a 30. I'm not sure why Lynn threw out the 9 after not giving any sort of criticism, but he does that. over seasons, he does that all the time, where he doesn't critique a dance at all and then just pulls out a 9, while the other two judges give it a 10 or a 3 if Julianne is there. So you're just like, why are you making a point? So I thought it was good. I thought it was very interesting to watch her do this dance, because usually I've talked about how like Lindsay's movement quality is more, you know, bouncy and bubbly and like looser and kind of just like hoppity like fun, right? That's how I usually pick like a fairy, like a fairy. You know, I don't really see her in this like grittier, darker, intense, more grounded type of movement. But this dance really kind of, she was that. And I was like, huh, that's strange. I never really knew that she could actually do that. That's really weird. But I liked it. So yeah, I thought it was good. And I think that's probably why I liked it the most, was because it was such a different side of Lindsay that we saw. Because honestly, the choreography itself wasn't the best part about it, but just the way she danced it, I really enjoyed. Their dance was Meryl and Max's tango, from season 18. I didn't think this dance was iconic either. I think a lot of Maxwell fans think it's iconic. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not very iconic. It was a good dance. It was another dance. It was the only dance that they did that season where I felt like Max kind of sort of used Meryl's talent. Explored Meryl's talent, the extent of her talent, dance talent. I feel like that was the only dance that he kind of sort of did that a little bit. But I feel like it was mostly the chemistry, and even Mark said it. It was mostly the chemistry that drove that dance. So you take that away from it and you take it out of the season, and it really doesn't measure up. And even I wasn't sold on the whole chemistry, Max and Meryl Maxwell, whatever the heck that stuff was. It annoyed me. But even with me being able to remove myself from all of that, I still couldn't, like, you couldn't get away from the fact like that was kind of their narrative and all that stuff, right? So it's going to be around all their dances. So now that narrative has kind of dissipated, and we've been a few years removed, it doesn't really hold up. I thought Lindsay did an alright job. I don't think the choreography was very inspired. I felt like Mark had a very off week this week, as well as Lindsay. I don't think the choreography was all that inspired. I do think Lindsay had a couple of issues with her frame. It kind of got a little wonky and like it crumbled a little bit. It was weird. And then like coming out of turn, she kind of was like, did a few bobbles coming out of turns every now and then, whereas like her feet kind of shuffled, and then she got right back to doing what she needed to do. That was happening. I feel like, yeah, they got a 27 for it. So again, you know, it wasn't a bad score, but at this point, like with Jordan coming on the way that he is, like they need to be on top of it. And I feel like they've lost their edge against Jordan. I think at the beginning of the season, Lindsay kind of had a slight edge over Jordan. After last week, I think it flipped into Jordan's favor, and I don't think they've gained it back. I do think that they were very misguided in both Mark and Lindsay talking about how Lindsay has no dance training, because while, yes, she probably doesn't have any real formal dance training, she has danced. From what I've heard, I don't really watch her music videos, but she does dance in music videos. She does dance on tour. I've seen a music video where she's dancing in it. So for her to say that, I just feel like it was very misguided, because all the show has to do now, if they really don't want them to win, all they have to do is pull a music video. Probably they would pull the one that she did with Derek, pull it, play a clip of it, show that she has danced, and it's a wrap. And I think they were both misguided in their thing for that, because they didn't need to do that. They really didn't. So finally we had Frankie and Whitney. Their first dance was a salsa. They got a 25 for that. It was kind of what I was expecting, which wasn't all that great, but it wasn't terrible. Frankie is not a Latin dancer. He's just not as loose as you would need to be to pull it off the way that you need to. I do think that it was fun, it was cute, and I think he kept up with the guys in the male pros pretty well. It just wasn't as good as it was probably as good as it was going to get for him. As far as his paso went, he got a 26 for that. I think that dance, I think Whitney may have miscalculated the risk that she took. I don't think it paid off for her to do the choreography that Apollo and Julianne did for their paso. This was the only iconic dance, because people frequently reference this dance when they talk about iconic dances. So it's one of those dances that, like, everything is in your head, and like you can make the comparisons easily. Like, it's just right there. And that's what I was doing the whole dance. And I think because of that, I saw a lot of things that Frankie was missing. The shapings were that he did, and styling, and just all of that was off. And he wasn't as strong as Apollo. He wasn't as into it as Apollo. He wasn't. It just. I feel like this was one of those times when she the move that she made didn't really pay off. It would have been dope if it did pay off, but it didn't. So they got a 26 for that. Still a decent score. It wasn't bad, but when you add in Apollo and you compare it directly to that, it just didn't measure up. So yeah, those were the dances, the elimination. Frankie was the last to be called safe, and Victoria left. I wish Val would have prepared her better for elimination, because she was really distraught, and it seemed like she didn't feel like she was going to be eliminated, but seeing as though she was 1 point from the bottom of the leaderboard, it was very possible that she was going to leave, and it did happen. So I really do wish Val would have prepared her for that, and because I just don't think she was prepared. I thought she was really feeling like she was going to make the finals, and it just wasn't the case. And I just wish he had prepared her for that, to savor the tears and the heartbreak and the heartache and just all those emotions that I know she was going through. So yeah, that's it. I will be back this week. We are on Thanksgiving break, fall break, whatever you want to call it. So I can actually put these up at a decent day. So Monday's night show review will be up on Tuesday, and then Tuesday we are picking the winner. So yeah, till next time. Bye.